I am aware that no matter how heavy the work has been, you are not tired. Even if you are tired, you have encouragement. This young man and young lady, they are working and playing, which means we should continue to work hard and continue to play. In the last video, we were exposed to introduction to course resources. In that video, we identified 5 important course resources. We made mention of the label, the schooling marquee, the file, the URL, and the pages. In that video, we'll spend time to talk about the label and scrolling marquee. The instructional label opens the door to all other things we are going to discuss today, as we are going to follow the same environment, following similar steps to arrive at the other label. So in this video, we are going to learn about the file, the URL, and the pages. The first we start with will be the file. What are we going to achieve at the end of this video? You will be able to state at least 3 uses of files. You also be able to mention 5 steps that you can follow in creating a file. You will be able to create a URL, and you also be able to discuss 3 differences between file and pages. This is going to be like a war between elephants and an ant. What do we look up to when we want to talk about file? The file link enables you to provide a file as a course resource. A file can be a picture, a PDF document, a spreadsheet, a sound file. It can also be a video file. So these files are things you will bring together on that file. So what are the steps you're going to take to create a file? We are going to take these steps. You know, you're going to be tired. We have more steps we are to take. So let's do this journey joyfully. The first step, like you were told under the label, is to log in with our credentials. What are your credentials? Your institutional email and your passwords. Use them to log into the EBSU LMS. That's the first step. The second step is to turn editing on. You turn editing on. Then the third step is to locate, click on add an activity or resources link, and then select file. When you select file, the place you have to add the file will be activated. You then add the file. After adding the file, the page will open where you give the file a new name. It's important that you give the file a new name, because if you give the file an old name, it can bring about confusion where different files will have the same name. You find it difficult to know which file is of interest to you at any given time. So give the file a new name and then select the desired file. When you have done this, you are to save the file. When you have done what you have just mentioned, you have created the file. Very simple. By the time we do the practice, you see how simple it is. What are the use of file? Why should we create these files? Even though we have introduced with the importance of file, there are important things you should know about how you can use the file, how you use them. You can use file to share presentations given in the class. Maybe in your class, you gave out presentations and they have all come in. You can use file to share these presentations in the class. You can also use a file to add a mini website as a course resource. You can also use the file to provide draft files of software for students to edit and submit for assessment. So these are things you can do with file. Now, the next resource is URL. URL. This URL simply means Universal Resource Locator. When you open a search engine, usually you are required to enter the URL. It's important we note that. This URL enables you as a teacher to provide web link as a course resource on the course page. You can copy the link. But before you do this, it's good you know something, that anything that is available online as document or images can be linked to. It's good to bear this in mind. Whatever you see available online, either as documents or images, can be linked to. And the URL doesn't have to be the home page of a website. No, you can come up with a URL of a page, but it doesn't have to be the home page of a website. Outside the home page, there are other pages where you can get the URL. You can copy the link and paste it, or you can use the file picker and select it from the repositories. So when we get to how to create it, we are going to see stages we can take to enable us to know how to do this. When we talk about repositories, we are talking about things like the Flickr, the YouTube, the Wikipedia, and this is depending on which repositories are enabled for the site you are using. So you can add it to other resources. You can add URL to other resources. If you take your mind back, when we talked about the label, we added a link as URL under label. So you can add URL under resources. How do you create URL? This is a very important question. We're going to look at other steps. So be prepared to climb again. Let's see how the steps will be. We're taking our first step. Log in with your credentials. You have known your credentials, your institutional email, and your password. Use it and then log in. The second step, turn editing on. The third step is click on Add an Activity or Resources. If you click on Add an Activity or Resources, what happens? You see a pull-down menu that will first list activities before it will list resources. After that, you locate resources and then click on URL. When you click on URL, it will be selected. Then when it's selected, you are going to add the URL. So you click on Add to add the URL. When you have done that, you move to the fifth step, which is copy and paste the link, or you choose from the repository. We have mentioned that the site you are using will have some links enabled. That is repository enabled. That's what you're going to select from. If it's enabled in the site you're using, you cannot choose from such repository. So it's good we note that. It's very, very important. So you can see to create URL is also very, very simple. If you have mastered how to create a label, these other ones will be very, very simple for you. Then when you have finished choosing from the repository, you have to save and return to course. When you save and return to course, you see what you have done and know what it looks like. So very simple. So I trust we can all do it. Then the other one is page. Page. The page enables you as a teacher to create a web page resource using text editor. The page can display texts, images, sound videos, web link, and embedded codes such as Google Maps. You can see that the page is indeed very, very useful. What are the steps we have to take to create the page? As we have said, the first remains the first. Log in with your login credentials. What are these credentials? Your institutional email and then your password. The second step comes up again, turn editing on. If you log in with your credentials and click on your course, you see the gear icon on the right side of your course. Click on the gear icon, then the gear icon will give you a pull-down menu. This pull-down menu will show you turn editing on. You turn editing on. If it is showing turn editing off, it means it's already on. Then the third step is scroll down to add an activity or resource and click on it. A pull-down menu will come up. Then you select an add page when it comes up. Then after adding the page, you name the page. After naming the page, you locate the page content and insert the resources, which may include texts, it may include images, sounds, video, or whatever you have you want to add to the content of the page. So this is very clear. And these images, this text, this sound, this video are things you have prepared for your class. You want to use them, as they say it, to garnish your page, to garnish your instruction, to garnish your class. So you bring them in and add them. We say we are going to look at a battle that will look like a battle between elephant and an ant. We have not known which one is elephant, which one is ant. That is file and age. If we look at what we said about file and age, it's as if two of them are doing the same thing. But let's see why they are not the same thing. The resources in a page can easily be edited than in a file. What you have in a page can easily be edited than you have it in a file. So the file is difficult to edit, or more difficult to edit than the page. Resources in a page are more accessible and are easier to update than file. The page has more content than file. So the file itself is a sub-content of a page. If you look at this relationship, you understand what we mean by when we say that the file is a sub-content of a page. You can see this big oval is the page. Inside the page, you have the file. So you can have files inside a page. So the page is bigger than a file and takes more items and materials than a file. But there's something you need to note. When you have large amount of content, it may not be advisable for you to use the page. Instead, use a book. If you go back to add activity or resources, you go to resources, you will see book, you use book. The same method you have followed, the same method you follow to add it. Book is also a resource, though not considered in this video. So what have we done? Now you have the course resources you need to make your lesson or LMS more engaging, more stimulating, and more attractive. You have learned about the importance of the file, the URL, the page. In addition to the label and scrolling marquee, I want to encourage you to practice how to use these resources to make the learning experience of our students a worthwhile one. Thank you very much.